Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio. So, I just wanted to jump on today because it's December 1st and it's the first day of our advent calendar that we made over the past weekend. We want to start eating all of our delicious candy, but before we do that, I wanted to do a quick little reveal video to show you what I ended up making and what I ended up transforming all my candy into. So, we have our special camera set up and we've got our candy reveal ready to go. So here's a view of the finished calendar. And I have to say, it did take me about 8 hours to finish wrapping all the candy. But the candy you see in here, there's actually more than what you see. So I ended up wrapping a bunch of extras to give away as gifts. So it's kind of like almost 3 times as much work. But yeah, I wanted to go through them and give you a little close-up view of how all my little labels turned out. And I was thinking I could actually take pictures and scan these and maybe make them available as a printable, because this was actually a lot of work, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And so if you guys want to print out your own and just kind of print them onto labels or paper and slap them onto your own boxes, that might be a little bit of a time saver. So I'm happy to share my illustrations with you. I think I like the hand-drawn quality that they all turned out because it's got that consistent theme. So the first one I decided, actually, this is not the first one I made. This is actually probably the last one I made. But the first one in my box today are chocolate cauldrons. And I think what I've done in this one is I had a couple little chocolate bars and I just wrapped them with paper and I made a little label with a chocolate cauldron drawing. So that's a simple little one. And yeah, I just like the way that my illustration turned out. So day number 2, we have Drubal's Best Blowing Gum. So this was a container that I just ended up putting new wrapping on and hand drawing the letters. So I'm really into lettering right now. And this container actually does contain chewing gum, so it's kind of on theme. So that turned out pretty cute. Next up is one of my tiny owl. This is Pigwidgeon, maybe, from the Weasley family. So inside the owl, I've got just a little baggie of Skittles. These are sour Skittles. So I love these little owls because you don't have to worry about like coming up with like a title for your candy. You can just kind of hide anything in there and it's still on theme. So if you want to learn how to make these owls, we do have our build video that's linked in the description. And you can make your own as well. Okay, day number 4, we're gonna be busting open a dragon egg. And you probably will recognize that this is actually Kinder Egg, Kinder Egg Joy. So it's got this like plastic tab here that I decided to leave on because it'll make it easier to open up later. And yeah, so I ended up I have a circle punch, and this was, I think, about 5/8 of an inch circle. And I just punched it out of a bunch of thick green paper, and I used my markers to give it a little more texture. And I hot glued all the circles on. This one took a little bit of time, but I think it looks pretty cool. And it's definitely better than trying to paint it because it is plastic. There's my dragon egg. Let's see, day number 5. We have a couple things, actually. I ended up having so much candy that some days I've doubled up on treats because I just didn't want to give them up. So Fizzing Whizbees. These are actually Pop Rocks, and so, or Shock Rocks. I just left the back as is. And this is just a simple label, so it's already like sticky backed. So I ended up grabbing a sheet of these and just drawing right on top of them. That worked out really well. The Fizzing Whizbees actually make you float off the ground. And so I thought it was a good one for the Pop Rocks. Here's another owl. This is, of course, Hedwig. And inside Hedwig are gummy frogs. Cool. I'm not sure if owls eat frogs, but I thought it was a good one to put in here. Of course, I couldn't find any chocolate frogs. Those are very hard to find. I don't think you can get them anywhere other than the Harry Potter like gift shops. So I don't have any chocolate frogs in my calendar. That's the one thing I couldn't make, unfortunately. Okay, day number 6, we have just a simple Honeydukes chocolate bar. And inside here is just a Kit Kat bar that I wrapped up in some paper. And I've got like a pink and green Honeydukes logo, which again is just drawn by hand. So I ended up doing a lot of these, so I ended up getting pretty quick at doing the logos. There's my honey. So the Honeydukes chocolate is best for after a Dementor attack, and you have to regain your energy. So just a big slab of Honeydukes chocolate will do it. Day number, what are we on? 7. Okay, so we have one of our handmade boxes wrapped with a pretty ribbon, and it's labeled Licorice Wands. So inside here is a little Ziploc baggie full of these short, chunky licorice pieces. And yeah, I just thought it would make a good wrapping to put inside of a box. So that's a simple little one as well. Nothing too fancy. Day number 8, we have our acid pops. So these are like Hubba Bubba pops, and I ended up getting, I think there was like about 6 of them in the pack. But I ended up taking a cupcake liner and wrapping it over top, and then adding this ribbon, curling ribbon, and my own custom label, which is like just a circle sticker label that I used permanent markers on. So I think the acid pops are pretty adorable, and it was a quick way to cover up the original wrapping. There you go. Acid pops, day number 8. And we're jumping over to square number 9, where we've doubled up on our treats. So I ended up inventing my own Monster Mints. This is a box of Tic Tacs that I just wrapped in some paper. And again, this is just a mailing label. I drew right on top. And of course, I had to have some rock cakes. So these are Sesame Snaps, one of my childhood favorites. And I just thought it was a quick little way to to display it. I didn't end up wrapping it because I wanted to show what was inside the wrapping. And it looks pretty cool. Monster Mints and rock cakes. Okay, day number 10, we have Exploding Bonbons. So this is actually one of the Wizarding World candies. The title anyways. I ended up making a little pillow box. So inside here, I have sour cherry candies. So my thinking was that it was like a cherry bomb. So exploding bonbons kind of fit the theme. I tried to make it make sense the way I was putting them together. And these little size baggies ended up being like perfect size. I used a lot of this size bag for a lot of the candy here. And yeah, so I liked making, I did do a custom box for a few different ones, and the pillow box is really nice. And the great thing about it as well is that I'm going to keep this and reuse it next year. So I'll just put new candy inside. So most of the stuff is definitely reusable as long as you save the packaging. So all that hard work doesn't have to be repeated next year. So that's the benefit of doing like a box. I ended up assembling it with some hot glue. Yeah, so maybe I'll draw this up and include it as like a print and cut. You guys can make them as well. Okay, we're on to day 11. And day 11 is a large box, and we have is another Honeydukes product. So inside here, I won't open it up because it's tied really tight, but it's just tissue paper, and there's a bunch of those small baggies full of like chocolate covered nuts and fruit. So I've got like chocolate covered raisins and yogurt covered cranberries and that kind of stuff. So that's what's inside my little Honeydukes, and I just went with the green and pink theme again to stay on brand. That's an easy wrapping. This one I don't think I'll probably save the tag, but not the tissue paper. Day 12, we have owl nuts. This was the first idea I had when I came up with the calendar, was that, of course, the calendar is inspired by the owlry, where the owls live at Hogwarts. And yeah, owls love treats too. So why not include some owl nuts? It's actually from the story. But what I've done is I filled it with popcorn kernels. So my idea behind this was to have a movie night on the 12th. So not sure if that's a weekend or not, but we'll have a movie night when we open up our owl nuts. I just thought it was super cute. So I had this jar at home. It actually came, it's like a yogurt jar from Farm Boy that somebody gave me. And then the lid, I ended up having it from something else, and it magically fit together. So this jar is like super cute and 100% reusable also. So I like that, owl nuts. And day number 13, we're going to jump in, and this is our jelly slugs. So there are these fat jelly worm candies in here. I think they look really good in this clear container. And this is just, what's it called? It's a 2-ounce, like, just disposable container, but you can definitely reuse it as well. But that's the size, like, if you're curious. And I just cut out, with my circle punch, a label and stuck it right on. And did some hand lettering. I really like that one too. It's nice and simple. Day 14, we have a golden snitch. So this is a Ferrero Rocher, as you probably have guessed. And I just cut out some wings out of some just slightly thicker paper and drew some lines. Hot glued it right on. So I'm really happy with my golden snitch. Day 15, I was actually really impressed with this, the way this one turned out. So these are chocolate covered almonds, but they also have a candy cane like coating. So that's how you get those little red flecks. And I found these at the Dollar Tree. So I actually was on a phone call with a friend, and I asked her, and I said, what do you think these could be? And she said phoenix eggs. So perfect. So thank you, Mary, for that suggestion. And I just did a quick little label. So this is the one of those little Ziploc bags, and I just cut out a rectangle of paper, folded it in half, and then stapled it on top. So you actually do have to take this apart to open up the baggie. You could cut it as well, yes. But if you want to save the label, you can definitely reuse it. Just take the staple out. Yeah, and then just a little label on top. Phoenix eggs. I thought that was so adorable. This is actually not mentioned in the Wizarding World, but it fits so well. So it definitely has a place in our box. Day 16, what do we have? So I really like these little jars I had, and so I decided to fill the Skittles inside this tiny jar, and I made up this name. So this is Rainbow Razzlers. It's just something fun, because Skittles, you taste the rainbow, right? So that was a fun little one. Not official Harry Potter, but I think it fits. And we'll jump ahead to day 17. Oh, it looks like I have another jar. And again, another name I made up called Zippy Zots. These are actually these like sour, chewy candies. So they kind of have a zippy flavor to them. I just love these little jars. They're so adorable. Okay, day 18, I think, is topping my list for one of my favorites from this series. And if you remember Slughorn from the Half-Blood Prince, Professor Slughorn, his favorite treat is crystallized pineapple. And I was actually able to find crystallized pineapple at the dollar store, amazingly enough. I filled up a little Ziploc bag, and I did my origami to make the 2 boxes in in pineapple colors. So a little bit of tissue paper inside just gives it that extra little nice wrapping, gift wrap touch, I guess. And yeah, and it fits in there really nicely. So there you go, Honeyduke's crystallized pineapple. And I was able to sample it, and it actually is very tasty. So I know why it was his favorite now. So we're going to jump ahead to day 19, and this is where we get into our Gringotts chocolates. So I have just a couple drawstring bags. I ended up finding this one at Dollarama. It was like a 4-pack of gold bags, and I had this organza one already. But I did a little Gringotts logo. I ended up just hand drawing this right off of like just looking at the screen, and I think it turned out pretty cute. Now you can actually just like, print them out as well. But since everything was hand drawn, I wanted to stick with the hand drawn theme. And these are just they looked like gold bars to me. So that's why I was thinking Gringotts, and they are Godiva chocolates. So I'm really looking forward to sampling these ones. And in the other gold bag, I managed to find some gold coins. So I kind of like after 8 hours of crafting, I was like, okay, this is enough. I could have gone the extra step and made labels for the coins, to give I think these would probably be galleons, I'm guessing. So I could have done that, but again, I was like, that's enough. You could just go on forever and ever with the details. So a couple little drawstring bags are a great way to wrap up your treats. Day 20, we have our Nosebleed Nougats. And this is a M&M's mini container that I just wrapped in some paper and ended up drawing this fun little logo for Nosebleed Nougats. That's a cute one. We have another owl in day 21, so let's see what the owl has inside. Ooh, oh yes, I remember. So I picked up these chocolate mints. They're called Candies, like a chocolate mint bar. And I decided to call them the Dementor's Kiss because it has, the Dementors, of course, have that icy cool breath. And I just thought it was kind of fitting with what the chocolate was. So that was my little handmade tag. And this piece of paper is actually the coffee stained paper that I was making for when we were doing our other live stream show. We ended up showing you guys how to do that. So it's not just white paper. It's got a little bit of coffee stain on it, which gives it the antique look. And this fits really nicely inside my owl, which is adorable, right? I love these owls. And okay, we're coming up on day 22. Another part of the Skiving Snack Box series are Fainting Fancies. So this is, I believe, a tin of like Sunkissed Sours. So it's just one of those like metal hard tins. I wrapped it in some paper, just like gift wrapping it, and then made a little logo to fit. So this next one is probably my favorite of the whole bunch. Puking pastilles. Okay, so I just like, I don't know, something about this. I really like the way it turned out. And again, it's a box of nerds, and it's got, yeah, just I made a custom logo to go on top. I thought it was pretty funny. Puking pastilles from the Skiving Snack Box series. Day 24, we have, actually this, I would say this one is probably my absolute favorite. The Birdie Bots every flavor beans. Of course I had to include it. I ended up just buying like regular jelly beans instead of the Jelly Bellies. But I ended up designing this little box, and I just thought it was so cute. So I decided that they are made in Scotland. Seemed to make sense. And yeah, I just made I made little box. So this was actually on version number 3 that I made. The first one I made was not as pretty as this, but because I was doing multiples, by the end I ended up like kind of perfecting the look and tied it off with a nice little ribbon. So when you open up the ribbon, you can just pull out the little Ziploc bag full of the beans. And so this box is totally reusable as well. There you go. And day 25, we have an extra day in our advent calendar. So Christmas Day, we get some treats, and we've also doubled up. So the first one that we have to show you are sugar quills. So the sugar quills, I ended up just finding these pixie sticks, but they're not like actual pixie stick brand. They were, I think, like Paw Patrol brand. So that's why we ended up going with the primary colors so that they would kind of fit. I'll pull one out to show you what they look like. So I ended up just cutting out like a leaf shape out of paper and cutting little notches into it, and then double side taping the pixie stick down, or the sugar stick down. So you could just rip off the end and eat it. And you could reuse the feathers too if you wanted to make them again next year. So I wrapped them in some ribbon and made a custom little logo. I think they're quite festive looking. The very last container I have to show you are Tauntaun Toffees. So inside this container, I've got toffee candies. So of course I had to make it fit. And this is just a container I happen to have at home. So look around and see what you have, and see if you have things that already fit inside the cubbies. You can totally reuse them. So I ended up making a label, and it's on the inside of the container because it's see-through. So if you remember Tauntaun Toffees, from, I don't remember what book it was in, but it was when the Weasleys came to pick up Harry from Privet Drive, and they knew that Dudley was on a diet. So one of the Weasley brothers had dropped the candy on the ground, and of course Dudley ate it, and his tongue swelled. So this was, I think, the first Weasley brother invention in terms of like candy. They were testing it out on unsuspecting victims. So had to include this one. And that's our final candy reveal for today. And I also just wanted to mention that on my advent calendar, I ended up putting some string lights all around. And there you go. And turn them on. And so you can add extra festive things like string lights, really like make it look amazing. And yeah, so that's my advent calendar. So now that I've done the video, we are actually able to open it up and enjoy the goodies. I hope you guys made one too. If you did, please share your pictures with me. I would love to see them and hear all about all the fun stuff that you've been getting up to. All right, everyone, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy your December and you're counting down to Christmas. Thanks for watching. Bye.